Hi, this is Dr. Jeff Hanna at Atlas Chiropractic in North Lakes, Brisbane. And what I want to show you guys today is the way that the upper neck actually moves and how and why we can have problems there. So even though we might have symptoms or injuries to other parts of the body, the reason that this is the area that is most commonly affected, but also the reason which serves as the best entry point in order to resolve so many problems. So what I'm going to first show off here, guys, is a little model of the base of the skull. So this would be the front, this is the back, this isn't real, this is a plastic model. And I just want to highlight these surfaces right here, and then this opening that we have here. The opening is where the brainstem sits, and it's about the size of a person's finger. And what we have is the bottom part of the C1 atlas. And what it does is it glides over these smooth surfaces in a circular fashion, much like this. And that is normal movement of the C1 vertebra. It's actually the only vertebra in the entire spine that actually has 360 degrees worth of movement associated with it. Now, because of that, it is the vertebra that is easiest to adapt when there is stress. It's what gives us, of course, so much mobility as far as the head being able to do this and then move side to side. But as a result, it means that the ligaments that hold this in place are also the weakest. And so if and when we have an injury to ourselves, really at any point, because a force can enter, from a direct injury to the head or the neck, or it can enter like a whiplash effect from a fall on the tailbone or an injury to the lower back and ripple and go up and affect this area just as much. And what will happen is your body's going to try to adapt to that stress as best as it can. And this, because of its ability to move, is going to be the one that's going to be affected. And here's what happens. You're going to have a force that's going to enter the body. Now, if you hit a person hard enough, right on a vertebra, right on a bone, it's going to break. If you hit it with a little bit less force, but still pretty forceful, that will cause it to dislocate. So if my fingers here represents the normal articulations of the joints of the spine, it will cause it to completely shift off. In both of these instances, this is not the domain of chiropractic. This is the domain of the orthopedic surgeon and the emergency department. Now, if you were to hit a vertebra just hard enough, or very, very light, what it's going to do is it's going to cause it to misalign just a little bit. But if it's within the normal flexibility of the joint's ability to move, and as long as there's not any ligament damage, your body should pull that back on its own. So misalignments happen not just at C1, but everywhere down the spine all the time. What we're talking about with chiropractic are these kinds of injuries that are less forceful than a dislocation, but a little bit more forceful than just the misalignment. It's the misalignment that happens just far enough that it becomes entrapped. And then despite your body's best efforts, it is not able to pull it back in on its own. If it was, it would be a simple matter of do this stretch, do this exercise, and everything would clear itself on its own. But the problem is if it gets stuck and the body can't pull it back in, this is where it's going to require that outside intervention, that is the chiropractic adjustment, in order to get things back over the hump so that your body will be able then to pull things back in over the course of time the way that they should be. And again, because of the flexibility that happens right up at the base of the skull with the C1, this is the area that is most commonly affected. Now, I'm just going to show one more quick thing on the model here. Remember, as I said, that my finger width is about the size of the brainstem and the spinal cord. And so if the atlas, say, were to misalign this way, but the body was not able to return it back to neutral, this is narrowing the opening here, which constricts and puts congestion on the fluids that circulate to and from the head, but it also can start to create tension on the spinal cord itself. And that, over the course of time, is going to cause issues. Imagine, if you would, that if you were to have your head in this position for a couple of minutes, no issues. But imagine if you fell asleep in this position and there you stayed for 24, 48 hours. You're probably going to have a bit of a kink at your neck at the very least. Now imagine then if something becomes trapped that way and caught for weeks, months, years, maybe even decades. And these then are the kind of problems that so many people start to experience, not the all at once kind of issues, but the things that very slowly creep up over the course of time. And then by getting this area adjusted and corrected, it gives the body a much greater and a much better opportunity to finally settle down and heal. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, just on understanding a little bit more about the way that the Atlas actually moves and what it is that we are trying to see and the importance of having this area properly aligned. This is Dr. Jeff at Atlas Chiropractic, restoring the cause of health from above down and inside out.